What's up? My name is Jason and I'm from the Shelf Stories YouTube channel, and I'm here in the Dice Tower today to review Planetarium. Planetarium is a resource management game, a family weight game for 1 to 4 players with a theme of the cosmos at the beginning of time kind of forming into the planets, the solar system we know today. It was designed by Stefan Vachon and published by Sparkworks. I'm going to show you all about how it plays and then let you know what I think. So without further ado, let's go to the videotape and I will show you Planetarium. All right, welcome to a game fully laid out of Planetarium. So this is a game with a very grandiose theme. So it's very, so you have the star right over here, which is a newly formed star, and it is kind of gathering, coalescing into an actual solar system. So there are worlds over here, kind of protoplanets, A, B, C, and D, and you are going to be evolving them over time. So the players are collectively going to, do things like, give it some rapid climate change and establish a stable climate, throw some supervolcano on there. So all of these are going to be kind of played alongside the planets as kind of evolutions of the planet, and towards you're just going to keep on doing that. And at the end of the game, whoever is the most impactful of the evolutionizers, I guess that's a word, will win the game. Okay, so how does that all work? So important thing to note is that no one person owns a planet. Everybody's in charge of the entire solar system. So like if I wanted to move either planet D, which is right over here, I wanted to move planet A, then I can do so. So I have my own personal player board in which I'm going to be kind of evolving my own little piece of all 4 planets. So, you kind of have to kind of take in the whole board and strategize your moves that way. So let's say I wanted to play rapid climate change on planet A. That's one of the things that I want to do. On my turn, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. I am going to move the planet. I can only move it clockwise due to interplanetary physics. I'm going to get my token and I'm going to put it on my personal board. That is my entire turn. You get to do one move of one of the planets A, B, C, or D. Also, in addition to that, so let's say on another turn, because according to rapid climate change, I need a water and a gas element. I can also move the gases, and I can move them one turn, one space. So like I can move them on the thick line or the thin line, and then I would claim that as A. So let me go ahead and zoom that back out. So that was my second turn. I now have the prerequisites. So as the second part of my turn, I can say I play rapid climate change, put it on A. That should be hostile right there. All the planets start as hostile. I'm going to discard the tokens, but I'm going to discard them on the evolution track. So that is kind of the timer of the game as the cosmos empties out of matter and it gets kind of pulled into the planets. Then, the game kind of speeds up, and eventually the last token that hits this space is going to trigger the end game. Let me go ahead and progress the game state a little bit, show you a couple more things. So I have fast forwarded the game state a little bit to show you a couple more things. Notice how the matter track has been filled, and we are around the bend, about to end the game in the short order. And there are more cards next to the planet, so let me go ahead and zoom in on the story of Planet A. So Planet A, as you saw, experienced rapid climate change. It also had a major seismic event, which apparently unleashed tidal forces. So you see the cubes. The cubes are ownership tokens. So yellow player has played these evolutions, and the red player has played this evolution. And as you can see on the score track, they have gotten credit as we have played those cards. So let's just say that one of the players has played one of their cards. So I'm going to take one of these tokens and I'm going to put it on this space. Hard to see from this distance, but this is the fast forward space. Now the matter tokens are going to be able to move 2. So this will be able to move 1, 2. Let's say there was a planet right over here, be able to move 1, 2. You'll be able to claim them a little bit easier. So the game can definitely speeds up. You definitely get a sense of like in the planetarium when everything kind of gets faster and faster. More cards are going to get played. When the last turn gets triggered, you are going to be able to play final evolution card. So these cards, these 2 cards, high evolution, low evolution, that goes throughout the game. Those are now useless. And you want to play these cards. So They basically kind of satisfying preconditions. So if I wanted a super Earth, it would have to be a non-ring planet in rings of 6 through 5. What is that? 4 through 5. I'm terrible at Roman numerals, so it would have to be kind of planet A, which is over here, and it would have to be. I would have to have ownership of it. I do, so I would get credit for 5 points. Just like that. So you have also cards that are a little bit harder to achieve. So this would have to be a habitable world. Notice that there is a hospital habitable token, and you make a world habitable by playing these cards and make sure that they outnumber the hostile cards, which have a gray border. Spend resources and have a planet of your own that you own on that particular, or have an evolution that you're responsible for on that world. So you can play as many evolution cards as you want over the course of that last turn. So that's the basics of how you play Planetarium, the base game. Very quickly, let me show you how the solo mode works. The solo mode is basically the game. Play the game, do the things, play your evolution cards, evolve the planets, move things around, all that good stuff. What you're competing against is a high score, but with feedback. So here's my high score. I'm going to play against the red player or the red tokens, and it's set to 100. So that's perfectly fine. It's going to roll after every time I go. It's going to roll 2d6. The game does not come with 2d6. Go find your own. So then you roll, and then so here would be a result of 4. So then every planet within that 4th ring is going to move and acquire a token. So then A and B would move, and then they would place that on the evolution track. Anything, so like if it rolled a 7, all the planets would move, and they would add tokens on the track. If it rolled anything like a 10 or 8 or above or anything like that, then no movement would happen. So whenever a token appears in the track, the score is lowered by 2. So if I have 2 tokens in the track, all of a sudden now I have to match 96. So the effect is that if I roll high a lot, then the planets don't move. I roll like, 8s and 9s and 10s, and there's not a lot of tokens on the track, and I have a lot of time to go, then I have to beat a high score. So beating 96 in the base game is just like impossible. That means that this never moved. However, if I'm rolling low, if I'm rolling, 2s and 3s and 4s, and planets are moving all of the time, then the score is going to lower. The game is faster. So I have to change my strategy to kind of like score quickly. And I can't save up for those big planets. I have to kind of score quickly and meet that lower score threshold. So, the game is that dreaded high score variant. Beat your high score, but at least there is some elasticity and variability there. All right, so that was Planetarium at the table. Normally, how I like to review games is I like to explore the experience that the game generates for you in your, what I call headspace at the table, both on a thematic and storytelling and imaginative end, and also the decision spaces, those turn-by-turn little bits of strategy and tactics that the game challenges you with. So let's start with theme, which I think this theme is a complete and total home run for me. I am not a space guy. I mean, you put Star Wars on there, I'm not one of those people that just kind of like runs and gets it. Or like, just kind of generic space of, exploration, all that kind of stuff. So like the space theme in particular isn't what draws me in. It's that theme of creation. It's that theme, like, in the beginning, you could hear kind of Carl Sagan in the back of your head. In the beginning, there was, just a couple of protoplanets and dwarf stars and everything. And then, the whole universe kind of is forming over however many hundreds of billions of years. And just the fact that they were able to kind of evoke that at the table is just an amazing accomplishment. If you read the rule book, there is some science and all that kind of thing about to kind of fill in some more of the gaps of, what exactly happened, a little bit of the science, all that kind of thing. I just think it's amazing. And also, like, as I showed you in the overview, you can kind of tell a little bit of a story of each planet as you play the cards. So, like, the planet starts off as just a big rock, but then it gets fissures and it gets, a big giant tidal wave, glaciers, falling, and, all this crazy stuff you can see. If you are a person who just are here for the mechanisms, you don't notice that at all. But if I'm playing this with like a family situation, or I've demoed this at a library, And I really was able to get into it. It's like, look, I mean, tell the story of this planet and help people get into the imaginative headspace of there was nothing. And now there are these planets that have a little bit of personality, and you were a part of that process. The flow of the game thematically is cool. You start off with a bunch of stuff, and then it kind of coalesces, and then it speeds up. Like as the solar system kind of moves into its final form. Just everything about the theme is wonderful. Strategically, this is a lighter game. It's a family weight game. So you're not going to get like the huge decisions and the big gamer levers and all that kind of thing. But for what it is, I think it offers a pretty good strategic punch. At the very beginning, I like the fact that you are not just have your own player piece and just kind of like, almost like you control your own planet and you're moving along. I like the fact that you have to look at the entire board but you're still focusing on the 4 planets. So it's not like you have to take in everything. You can look at those 4 planets. You can see, match them up with your cards and figure out, okay, how do my cards match up with what the planets are offering me? What can I move? All that kind of thing. I think that's just a neat way of like, when you're playing a game, again, I think of my experience at the library teaching this, a lot of times, gamers kind of like silo themselves. This game, you kind of can't, like everybody's involved. And I like that. Speaking of that, you can really mess people up like that. You don't know what other people are going for because your hands are, silent, closed off. However, if someone moves the A planet and they put a resource on their A space, or if you notice that someone has collected resources on one of their letter spaces, then you can move the planet yourself and say, you know what, you're not moving that. It's almost like you're hate moving, like you hate draft at a card drafting game. You're kind of like hate moving and you're gathering a resource. Maybe you don't need it, but you can take it away from the other person. You don't know exactly what they're going for, but they're probably going for something because they have a whole bunch of stuff on their board. So you can pay attention to that, or you can focus on your own thing, building up your own planets. I didn't say this in the playthrough, but there are also cards that like you play them and you get a resource from the board. It's like a gravitational pull type effect to set you up for the next thing. All sorts of little strategic moments that really pay off. Is it a brain burner? Not in the slightest. And maybe a negative here is that a lot of times you kind of get into the cards kind of choose you. It's like the best choice kind of screams out at you. It's like, do this. You're really ridiculous if you do something else. So it's like you just kind of do that. So the game presents that to you. I mean, but it's a family weight game. Sometimes family weight games just do that. Think of King of Tokyo. If you roll 6 claws, you're gonna just use the 6 claws. In this game, if you get a planet path that just lines up with all the resource tokens you need, just do that. So, you're going to have those moments, right? You're going to have moments of where the choices are very easy, but you also have, I think, enough moments where you have little branches, little paths. I could do this or this, or I could mess my opponent up or benefit myself. And then the last part of the strategy is the final evolution cards. So you have to decide when you are going to stop scoring your own lower evolution cards and then start accruing final evolution cards. Do you get them early so you know what you're going for? Or do you get them later so that you keep your hand, flexible? It's pretty neat. I have had games where I've won with just playing 1 or 2 final evolutions. I've also had games where I've shot the moon and I scored all 5. And that is super satisfying. Another thing to note about Planetarium on their strategy end is that it ends really fast. It starts really fast and it ends really fast. Like, this game is quicker than a hiccup. For a larger strategy game, you kind of don't want it to be that quick. You're just starting to get your kind of like, your planets lined up, your resources lined up, and all of a sudden someone puts their last resource on that double thing track, and it's like, whoa, oh my god, I have to, start getting final evolution cards going, and it can be a little bit disorienting an experience. So I think a lot of gamers have wanted this game to be a little bit longer. So will Planetarium blow your doors off strategically? Absolutely not. But I don't want this game to. I want to be able to play this game in a family setting, in a library setting, with the occasional muggle or two, and they have a chance. And also I like the solo mode. I think in the solo community, high score games kind of get pooped on a little bit because I'm just playing the game. I want some active opposition. But I like it here because of that sense of, the elastic target score. So like if it doesn't move a lot of planets, you have like, you have to score big, you have to score big planets. Or if it's moving, towards you a lot, moving a lot of planets, denying you resources, you have to like kind of score quickly. Keeps you on your toes, and that's all you really want as a gamer. You want to have reasons to play differently. In a solo mode, you don't just want to, rinse, repeat, do the same thing. You want it to play a little bit differently. You're gonna start repeating after like 4 or 5 plays. Not like it's hugely variable, but it's variable enough, and I really enjoyed it. There is so much to love in this package, so I'm just gonna get to final thoughts right now. My final thoughts: 8 out of 10, seal of approval, very high seal of approval for Planetarium. With a little bit more strategic depth, would maybe kind of crack that barrier to seal of excellence. Maybe the expansion offers that depth. I'm going to be taking a look at that expansion in the next video. So please go ahead and stay tuned for that. All right, so thank you very, very much for tuning in. Please go ahead and visit me at my channel. It is Shelf Stories. Shelf Stories, I have game content, I have interviews, and also my Shelf Help series where I talk about aspects of mental health that I believe apply to gamers and humans at large as well. So this is Jason reminding you, if you can change your mind, you can change the world. So until next time, later everybody.